ZK MasterTech. Today we're going to be looking at a variable pitch fan that they use on the X9 combines. It goes on the engine and it has fan blades that can vary their pitch, so we can blow more or less wind through the cooling package, but also it can rotate those fins over far enough to where it could actually reverse the flow and blow out the coolers. We got a fan off this X9 that we were having some troubles with, so let's take a look at it. Here it is in all its glory, the variable pitch fan. We got it already taken apart here. We were having some troubles with this. There's a sensor that goes on the front of this thing that senses the pitch angle on the blades, and it wouldn't calibrate, and we're having some issues with that, and it only read 33 degrees, and it's supposed to read 13 when it's at minimum and 37 at maximum, and then when you go in reverse it's 47 degrees. So the pitch was out of range, so it wouldn't even try to do the calibration. We went through everything electrically on this thing.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you've got a 5-volt, a return, and a signal circuit. We verified all those were working right. We went through the hydraulics on it to make sure that was good. That's all cherry. And then the last thing left, it had to be something wrong internally in the fan. When we were pulling the fan out, it actually pulled the threads out of one of the mount bolts. And then inside of here, you see you've got these fins, and they have a little gear on them, which then engages into these little gears that are attached to a hydraulic piston in here. And inside of these holes are all these giant, really stiff, powerful springs that go all in there. Well, when you take this thing apart, you've got this cap on there.
It goes on
there like that, compresses those springs, and then you got a bunch of Allen bolts. Well, you take out 3 Allen bolts and you put in longer ones, so you can tell there's a difference in length there. You put these longer ones in because there's not enough bolt thread depth to completely decompress the springs safely. So you put 3 of those in and then take out all the bolts, and then you start taking them apart. Well, when we put 3 of them in, and then you loosened one a little bit, and then he went to loosen the other one, and this thing exploded like a bomb.
A violent manner.
It was very violent.
We had to check our pants.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we found that the housing actually broke. So this is where one of those bolts was actually, the longer bolts was through, and it pulled it through and broke this, and then luckily it didn't come all the way off.
2 other bolts. I still had threads on the other 2 bolts, but when that thing went off, it shot up about a ½ inch, and it sounded like a mortar round going off.
Yeah, so it was not cool. We've taken apart many of these fans, and I have never had one do that before. So, but this one's been apart like 4 times because there was a pip on these for the an hydraulic leak. So you went in and
there was a shaft seal on the rotary union that was leaking, and that had failed twice on this one. So I know that it had been apart at least 2 times before I had done the final fix for it.
Yeah, so then you had it apart again to fix the oil leak. Had the oil leak fixed, but now it won't calibrate.
No.
So the sensor is just not reading what it needs to. It's a Hall effect sensor, so it kind of works like black magic sometimes. And it's just not reading the way it's supposed to. And we were just trying to get this fan apart again to see what was going on, and she blew.
So it kind of forced our hand into
getting a new fan. So we've got a new fan, and we're going to be putting the new fan in, and hopefully it calibrates.
Fingers crossed.
Today's video is brought to you by Raycon's Everyday Earbuds. In the season of love, let's talk about a love language we can all agree on: the love of sound. And with Raycon's Everyday Earbuds, you get premium audio that moves with you, whether you're at work, in the gym, or just taking calls on the go. I use my Raycons all the time, whether I'm mowing the yard, listening to music while working on equipment, or editing my videos for ZK MasterTech. The active noise cancellation keeps distractions out, so I can focus on the details, whether it's the sound of an engine or fine-tuning audio for my latest video. And check this out. The charging case and protective cover looks great, supports wireless charging, and keeps my earbuds safe no matter where I take them. Plus, with 32 hours of battery life and multi-point connectivity, I can seamlessly switch between my phone and laptop while editing without worrying about the connection. Best of all, Raycons start at half the price of other premium brands, so you don't have to break the bank for top tier sound. But for any reason they're not your perfect match, Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee. Go to buyraycon.com/ckmastertech to get up to 20% off site-wide. That's right, you'll get up to 20% off everything on Raycon's website, including 20% off all headphones too, when you go to buyraycon.com/ckmastertech. Now let's get back to the action. It is in all its glory. It says clean fix on it, so that's, we must make it for Deere. But here you can see it's got a hydraulic rotary union, so that allows this to spin and maintain a hydraulic connection. And then we have the Hall effect sensor right here that clips on to the shaft right here, and then it's reading, I'm guessing it's reading the position of that piston inside of there, because that's right where that would be, you know, how far it is away from that sensor. But one thing to know about these is the signal voltage is only produced whenever this thing is spinning, because if you try to do diagnostics on it with the engine off, the voltage is going to be extremely low, and the voltage will go from 1 volt to at 13 degrees, which is minimum, up to 4 volts at maximum pitch. So should be 1 to 4, and when it's just sitting there with the engine off, it was only reading like 0.171 volts. But then when we had it running, when it was at 33 degrees, it was somewhere around 1.8 to 2.2 volts. So we've got to get this fan in there and bolt it in, run the hydraulic hose and the sensor wiring, and get it installed on the fan hub and get it running. All right, so you see we've got the top fan shroud out, and there is a green shield that goes over the top of all this too. That's our, you know, out because we had to get the fan out. But you can see right down here we've got our fan hub on the front of the engine, so we're going to get this fan down in there and bolt it up. I've got a couple bolts ready. And they say to use a appropriate lifting device because the fan's heavy, aka bent.
Me.
Whoa. Careful now.
Get my foot down here. Okay. Just so. Come one with the engine. Got a bolt.
I did. You want to get it on the hub first? What? Here's one.
Uh-oh. Let me see where a hole is. There, right there. Get in your hole.
You want to get it on the hub and then try to spin? Feel it. Probably go back. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Get back on the hub. Get one started. That's the trick. So we got one bolt started. Now we just got to get the rest of them going. And they got pretty long M8 bolts that go in there. You get them in all the way around. And when you need to do the bottom ones, you can spin that fan on the hub. Well, you can get the hub to turn and get to all the other ones. So we get all the bolts in. And you can't get
anything but this.
Yeah, you can't get a socket or a ratcheting wrench. You think a socket would fit in there?
I've tried.
Nay. Yeah.
So the taper of this, you can't get. I'm sure maybe there's a specialty one, but I've not had any luck with what I got.
Yeah, so you got to use a regular wrench. You got a Johnny end wrench all those in.
And don't use a long wrench. Use a short one.
So one thing to know, you are threading into aluminum with a steel bolt, so don't over torque those. All right, all the bolts are torqued in. Now the fun part, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
So that hydraulic hose and the sensor wiring has got to run along that support of the cooling package, and you got to zip tie it to it. And it's kind of hard to reach.
It's not a good time. Oh.
Do you want the Persian rug, man?
Oh, no.
No?
For the
You're
sake
just gonna
of
suffer in silence?
suffer in silence. Well, I'll probably be pretty audible about it. I normally am.
I'll have to edit that out later.
Yeah.
There's a hole
In the
in the
bottom of the
fan
seat.
shroud underneath that support where that's got to go through. There's our old sensor he's pulling out now. And then they go through a hole in the shroud and then come over here and attach right around here. So while Ben's in this awkward position trying to run that stuff through, I'll show you, we got a porta power here with a DR and then I can hook this up to the hose on that fan drive, and then we could pump it up and we could actually test the fan to make sure that it hydraulically moves those fan blades, and it did that perfectly. So we even had this thing on there while the engine was running. And we was changing the pitch on the fan blades while it was running, trying to figure stuff out. And
It was.
it would get up to 45 degrees and then just quit reading. It'd go from 33 to 45, and that's as much as it would ever read.
In hindsight, it was rather scary with the failure we had when taking it apart. That'd have been bad.
Yeah. Shake hands with danger.
Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum.
All right, let's talk about the components that are involved in this variable fan circuit, right? So we suck oil from the reservoir into our auxiliary pump. So our auxiliary pump then sends pressure out this hose here to our primary valve block right there. Up here, right behind the grain tank, you see the primary valve right here. Okay, so the solenoids involved are this one right here, so that's your quick reversing solenoid. So whenever we want the fan to move really quick and do the reversing, because when you have the separator on, it's got a timer that every 15 minutes it's going to reverse that fan and blow chaff and stuff out of the cooling package. So you got a quick reversing solenoid there, and then your increase and decrease solenoids are right here. One's got a purple tag on it, and one's got a light blue tag on it. So it's this one and this one. And then right underneath those solenoids, you've got the hose coming out. So this hose right here that I'm wiggling, that one hose is coming out to the fan. There's a bulkhead connection right here, and then that one hose is traveling down through there, kind of where Ben's at. And then there's a valve block there with a relief valve in it as well. The engine here, I'm going to try to show you where that valve block is. So it's right down there. I don't know if I can get a better angle. Yeah, there's the valve block right there. In the bottom of the valve block, you got a relief valve right there too. So your pressure from the primary valve block's coming in here, and then it's got this T right here, and then it's going straight to the fan, and then the relieved pressure is then comes out this hose at out the side there, and then that actually goes down to the front end gear case. Not sure why they route it down there, but that's where that hose goes, so it's pretty long. And now we've got complete fan installation with the zip ties installed right there to keep the line and electrical out of the fan. Now we're ready to run this thing and make sure it works before we put all this stuff back on. Alright, so we got the engine fired up here. We're going to go to menu, then we're going to calibrations and procedures, and then we're going to press and hold on harvest until T factory shows up. Just like that, cooling fan calibration, yep. And then we're just going to hit cal begin. And next. Calibration successful, sweet. Finally. Now, something cool, we can go in, we can look at some data here. If we go to System, Diagnostics Center, Controllers, we're going to go to the pod controller, which is our powertrain domain controller. That's what's the brains of the operation for the fan here. There it is right there. Now we have a bunch of addresses, so we want to be able to get there quickly because we have these DIDs, they call them, data identifiers. And I'm going to search, and I'm just going to type the word cooling in there. And now all the addresses that have the word cooling comes up. And here we can see our fan reversal count. We can see the actual fan pitch, which now is reading correctly. Like I said, it's supposed to be 13 degrees. It was reading 33 all the time. Our cooling fan sensor curve, I'm not really sure what that is for. The cooling fan desired pitch. So that's the two we're really looking at, right? Our actual and our desired pitch. So desired's 13. The actual is pretty close to 13. We got our cooling fan sensor voltage. And then right here, at 5006, we can select this and we can tell the fan to go to 37 degrees, for example. And now the fan's going to speed up. If we go back and look at our actual here, we can see it's climbing up. Our desired's 37. So now I can actually hear the fan pitch changing, and we're sucking more air through the cooling package. And it gets it right where it needs to be, and then we just make sure that it's able to hold that 37 degrees, which it's doing it just fine. So now we can go to the 5006 address, change it back to 13, and watch it again. And it takes a little bit of time for those springs to press that piston back and return that oil out of that fan, which is turning those blades. But there you go. So I'm wondering if we could change that to, oh, that's the, if we go to 5006, let's try to see what happens at 47 degrees. Should be reversing. No, it won't let us do it, so only let us go to 37 with that address. Bummer. But if we took this thing outside and turned the separator on, usually it does a reversing right as soon as you do that. But it's working the way it's supposed to right now. You can see our sensor voltage changing as we're going down. So it looks like our voltage actually gets higher. So I think the information in Service Advisor is wrong. I believe I think it told you at minimum pitch it should be 1 volt to max pitch is 4, but actually it's the opposite, because here we're close to 4 volts at 13, and then as the more pitch we had, the less voltage we have. So keep that in mind. And then you have your last reversal type, engine coolant temp. Here's your timer for your 15-minute timer. So yeah, that's some things you can look at the addresses here. Pretty neat. But I'm just glad that thing's fixed. Alright, and just some more information, just so you know, you can get parts for these. You can get a fan seal kit, which comes with everything you need. There's even a special tool in there that you need to turn the
the threaded portion of the seal for the piston.
Yes, so it comes with a special tool for that. It's just got 2 little prongs on there that allows you to attach like a 3/8 ratchet to it in order to turn that out.
And it comes with a new threaded portion with all the seals that you need for it, plus a new rotary union, all the seals for it.
And it's pretty self-explanatory. There's a snap ring that holds the rotary union in, and then you just pull it out.
Yep.
Unthread that piece. You can pull the piston out, put seals on the piston, seals for the rotary union. You can get the rotary union, you can get a sensor for it.
Yep.
So these fans are serviceable. You can do it, but in our case, she just kind of exploded, and we needed a new fan. So So we got a new fan, but I just want to let you guys know that you can rebuild these. I'll also show you where the pod controller is. So we're on the left side of the machine, just above the left rear tire. Right underneath the main engine gear case right there, we've got our big bad pod controller. It's shield time. Now we got to get this upper shield in there. Oh, look what, it just fell in. Would you look at that, Ben?
Lucky.
So, well, it kind of did. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
There it is. Okay, now we just got to get all the bolts and washers so it sandwiches together there. Sneaky little stud right there that you got to get in. Put a washer and lock nut on, and then all the bolts, and then we've got this big green shield right here that goes over the top, and then there's another green shield that goes right here. All the safety shields are in place. New tool alert. So Matco stopped in the other day and they had these flush cuts on sale, and these are meant to cut, you know, plastic, zip ties, soft metal. It says, you know, not for steel right on it. So they're spring loaded, and there's a smaller pair. I like that they're spring loaded. That's really nice. And then here's the bigger pair. Really good quality. Can provide a flush cut. Because my snap-on ones, well, I got a little mean with something. You can see the two little indentions there in the jaws, but you know, sometimes when you're in the hole, it's hard to do this number and snip a zip tie, so I like that spring-loaded action. These are still really good snippies, but I think I'm going to like the spring-loaded Matco ones just a little more. So pick those up. Also, I got the scraper. So I've actually got the blade in backwards right now, so I don't cut anything in there, but I like this scraper. It's got a nice big handle on it. It's actually strikeable. And then you want to release the blade, you just pull this thing down, pull the blade out, put a new one in, and slide that back up, and you're good to go. So really easy to change the blade. I ran this Blue Point one for a while, but you got to take that little screw out. And it works okay, but definitely like this one better. And I picked up a indexing seal puller. Check that thing out. Really like it. So you just push this button, and then you can move the head wherever you need to, which is really handy at pulling seals because they're never in a real easy to reach spot. So pick those up. I do have another indexing pair here that I got off of Matco here, and it's just got, you know, like a little pin you can take out, but there's only, you know, 3 different positions you can put that. And then I got the good old, you know, the trusty regular seal puller as well. You can't have too many seal pullers, so really digging that. Check those out from the Matco truck near you. And I also got this new headlamp from Matco as well. So it's a LED light, and it is super bright. And then it's got a little spotlight right here. What else is cool about it is you can turn the mode on where you just wave your hand next to it and it'll turn it on. So if you got your hands all oily or something, you don't have to actually touch it. You can just whoosh, and then turn it on and off. Pretty sweet. And it's super bright. I really like using it. It's really handy when you're underneath a feeder house or working in an engine or somewhere where it's really dark. It really puts the light right where you need it, and it's really comfortable. And I could wear this thing for hours, and sometimes you even forget it's there. So really awesome light to get from Matco. All right, so we got the combine outside. We're gonna run the separator on it. Got to open up the grain tank covers before we can run the separator. Open. Oh, it's almost done. Okay. Fully opened. Now, I want to go to that page where we're looking at the cooling fan. Controllers, go to pod. There's so many controllers nowadays. There we go. Let's see what it does. Separator on. Wide open throttle. It's 15. You know, it's hard to hold the phone shaking the combine at the same time. Sorry for the shaking.
You got no steady cam.
I was thinking it was going to want to reverse while I was in harvest mode here. We got a feeder ass on too. Now we're in full harvest mode. I was wanting to see what that read whenever it reversed, but we might have to wait 15 minutes.
Right.
Plus it's pretty cold outside, so we don't need a whole lot of pitch. So sometimes when you shut the separator off, it does it. Oh, there it did it. Hear it?
Nice.
Yeah, it went up to 45. Did you hear that? Air rushing?
Cool. That sounds like a jet.
All right. So it'll do it whenever you kick it off. I'm only going to sit there and wait for 15 minutes. All right, well, it's finally fixed. So super happy about that. The fan kind of kicked our butt there for a minute.
Yeah, it was grim there for a little bit.
Anyway, I hope you guys learned something from the video. If I get a chance to actually rebuild one of those or do the pip on it, I'll be able to show you how to replace the seals and everything in that fan drive. So maybe I'll get a chance to get that video for you guys. But until next time, keep that green iron moving.